The Wisconsin Department of Veterans Affairs stands ready to serve Wisconsin veterans, their families, and their survivors. With our partners like your local county veteran service officer, we can help access the benefits you've earned and the support you need. For more information, please visit wisvets.com. That's wisvets.com. Message sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Veterans Affairs.
Carrie, where's Tori Lowe and Dr. Ken at? I'm trying to knock these commercials out.
How am I supposed to know, Sherwin?
Well, I'm about to do their parts because my impressions are on point anyway. This is Dr. Ken Harris from Truth in the Afternoon, and I want you to download the Truth app in the Google Play Store and Apple Store so you can never miss my show or any of the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Really, Kyle?
Sherwin, you are crazy.
Sherwin, your impression of me is horrible. Move. Give me my mic. I guess I'll just repeat what Sherwin said. Go to the Google Play Store or Apple Store to download the 1017 The Truth app today so you can take the home of Milwaukee Black Talk with you wherever you are.
Can't listen live? Download the new 1017 The Truth app on your smartphone today to catch up on all your favorite shows. Search 1017 The Truth on your Google Play Store or Apple App Store so you don't miss out on any of the action. You're listening to the new 1017 The Truth, founded in partnership with American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. 1017 FM, 1510 AM, WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station.
It's time! It's time! It's Beta time!
You are watching a master at work.
Truth Nation, get ready for the greatest 60 minutes in radio, giving you his authentic and bold opinions, bringing you all the information, entertainment, and conversations you gotta hear. From local issues to trending topics and headline news, it is time for Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace on the award-winning 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, 1017thetruth.com, and streaming live on YouTube. Now, live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue in the heart of downtown Milwaukee, here is your award-winning host, Kyle Wallace.
Truth to Power here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. I am Kyle Wallace, the host of Truth to I said almost a garden tool. Threw me off. The host of Truth to Power here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth, and we're coming to you live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee. 833-212-1017. That is the Truth Talk and Text line. You can call in, you can text in to share any of the thoughts that you have on today's conversation. Also, make sure you watch and stream us live on YouTube by going to 1017 The Truth on YouTube. 1017 The Truth on YouTube. Speaking of the Truth Talk and Text line, boy, I'm looking at this talk and text line from the end of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, which you can hear every weekday, really every day, 9 to noon here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. And boy, this Fonz guy is crazy. Crazy, man. I don't even know what to think of this. Sherwin got some crazy ones. See, I ain't got really crazy folks who text in. I got sensible folks. Y'all is sensible. I'm glad I got a sensible audience. Rhea just whispered in my ear, you got Winky and Al. Okay, and Winky and Al call into every show. Matter of fact, Winky was banned from The Truth with Sherwin Hughes for over a year. And he still called in. So, yeah, I enjoy Weekend Out. They're not as crazy as these other folks. But before we get started, we have the great TV screens here in our studio, the American Family Insurance Studio, and Fox News is on one of them. And it was just talking about Russia and Ukraine. I remember Russia and Ukraine. Y'all remember how that war was happening? And remember how our president said he was going to take care of that within the first 24 hours, 48 hours. He was going to have no more war in Russia and Ukraine. And now it seems as if Russia is trying to pulverize Ukraine as they continue to attack them. And I think Donald Trump is getting pretty fed up because based off the latest is that they are negotiating the Senate is coming up with a bill to potentially give Trump the power to do what he needs to do in order to punish Russia for them constantly punishing Ukraine. But I tell you, folks voted for Trump thinking he was really going to stop this. And what always blows my mind is I always think about the fact that people make promises about what they're going to do, and then when they break promises about it, people really don't care. So is it really about your beliefs, or is it about you want to play for a winning team? So, but that's that. But anyways, I want to continue a conversation here off the top that we started a couple days ago because I really felt like I didn't give it enough room to breathe, right? I really felt like we had this discussion, but we didn't get to go deep into it. And, I consulted with my producer. She agreed, Rhea Riley. Shout out to Rhea Riley on the ones and twos.
What's up?
She agreed. And so there was a couple things today that I felt like maybe I should readdress and get back into. And so, Truth Nation, one thing we know, and I've established this, and you all say, and I appreciate y'all, especially y'all on YouTube. Again, go to 1017 The Truth on YouTube. Make sure you give us a like, and make sure you give us a subscribe. Is one thing that I feel like I don't have enough time, right? Y'all tell me, 60 minutes not enough. And I agree. I don't always have enough time to get out what I want to get out and have the conversations that I want to have because, we get the great community interaction, great phone calls, text messages, folks on YouTube. We get great interaction. And for me, this is supposed to be a community conversation, a community dialogue. So I want y'all to engage. I want y'all to call in at 833-212-1017. That is what I want. Because for me, overall, I feel like that is a plus and a benefit for the show and for people to be able to have their voices heard on this platform. That's what The Truth is all about. And so I try to make the most of the time that I have. And I feel like a lot of times where the conversation stops at, Truth Nation, it stops at me talking about the issues, the problems. My girl was in a car driving with her grandma yesterday, and her grandma don't listen to my show. She don't live here. She listened to my show, and she said it was very good, but does he always talk about the problems? She said, yeah, a lot of times he does. And I said, well, I don't want to talk about the problems all the time. I want to bring up some of the solutions, but unfortunately, by the time we get to, 12:50, Rhea telling me you got to break, and I don't have time to get to the solution. So I definitely wanted to retouch and rehash a conversation we had a couple days ago because I want to get to some solutions. Because for me, I do enjoy shedding lights on things of happening in our community, but also I would like to believe I'm a solution-based individual. I just feel like 1 hour doesn't give me a chance to focus on solutions. And on Monday, we discussed what happened at Summerfest, and we had an extensive conversation where we talked about the problems, right? The problems that came from Summerfest that have roots in other places. And when I finally got a chance to get to the solutions, I only had 3 minutes to get to the solutions, which was not enough for me to expound and for me to really talk about the solutions. And what really hit me, and I believe it was Monday evening, one of our former, I guess he's still a teammate, Bob, shout out to B.O.B. Bob is one of our teammates here at Good Karma Brands. He used to be full-time, now he's part-time. And Bob listens to The Truth. He used to sell The Truth. He did a great job at being a marketing consultant for The Truth. And he texted me and said, hey, Kyle, I was listening to your show, but I had to go. And I just want to know, where can I find the podcast? Because you started talking about some of the solutions, and I want to hear what you said about the solution. So I sent them the link. But that to me, plus my girl grandma talking about, is there any, did you just talk about problems? I want to talk about some solutions today. 833-212-1017. I feel like we had this Summerfest conversation, which was an absolute lightning rod in the community. And 5 days later, I wouldn't believe, 5 days later, after the wildness and craziness that took place at Summerfest, the community is still buzzing about what happened at Summerfest. Now, what happened at Summerfest clearly struck a nerve for a lot of folks in the community. And based off social media posts, matter of fact, you can follow me at Kyle Wallace 414 on Instagram or on Twitter, or you can follow or not on Twitter, on TikTok. Or you can follow 1017 The Truth on Facebook or 1017 The Truth on TikTok as well. And there's a video that my producer, Rhea Riley, posted. And that video that she posted has almost 100,000 views on TikTok. Now, I was not on TikTok. I deleted TikTok because I didn't want China knowing all my information. But I said I was waiting for Trump to sell it. And Trump had a deadline before, and then they pushed the deadline back to July, and I pushed back a deadline again. I just can't wait no more. But on TikTok, these over 70,000 views and over 280 comments and all these 400 shares, I go through the comments and I just see all of the people, whether it's bashing or all the people giving their feedback, but I see that this is a controversial topic. I go to Instagram, Kyle Wallace 414 on Instagram, and I see some of the comments on Instagram, the comments on Facebook, and I realize that this conversation with Summerfest isn't done yet. But right now, it's so controversial where people have strong thoughts and opinions and a lot to say about what went down. But I feel like I don't see a lot of concrete solutions or ways that we can solve this problem. And the problem for me, Truth Nation, goes beyond just Summerfest. For me, it's a cultural problem. But when I say cultural here in Milwaukee, some of it is systemic and some of it is part of the mindset that we have in the community. But some of that is not the fault, and much of that is not the fault of those in the community. People are just living their lives in the community, following in the footsteps of those that came before them, and utilizing the resources and activities that are provided to them. So I really wanted to follow up on actually having a dialogue about solutions to the problem that we have at Summerfest, but the problem that persists in our community when it comes to fights, when it comes to people beefing, when it comes to, I don't know about you, Rhea, I don't know about you, Truth Nation. 1017 The Truth on YouTube, also listening on 1017 The Truth app or in your vehicle, is that every single weekend, I don't look forward to it, but I watch. I see a fight, whether it was the fight here outside of the 3rd Street Market Hall during the night market, whether it was a fight where my brother showed me a video of some girls throwing hands. That was a white girl, some black girls throwing hands. Shout out to the black women that stepped in and helped the black girl, because that big white girl she was kind of bogus. Or should I not say that? Is that bad for me to say? Or it's the fight that I saw, the brawl that I saw in front of Whitetail, or what we saw at Summerfest, right? We see all these problems, but I feel like it's deeper than that. It's much deeper than that. The youth has a problem, which in my opinion has worsened since the pandemic. But what we need to stop doing is we need to stop acting like this is a new issue. Fights, brawls, drama have all been constant in our community from when I was young and from when y'all listen, a lot of y'all were young. But the difference is now everyone has a camera phone and can capture that nonsense. And so now it's being put on social media for everybody to see, everybody to talk about. But for us to sit here and act like we got amnesia about the fact that this is nothing new in our community is crazy. So again, on Monday, I started to discuss a blueprint for Milwaukee. And that blueprint of Milwaukee comes from Baltimore, Maryland, and what they did. And I thought that was so important. Baltimore, not just any place. There's other places that have blueprints. There's a place out in Ohio that decided that they were going to reimagine the police force, not get rid of the police force, but reimagine, not defund, reimagine, reinvest in the way that they wanted policing to be. But that community didn't match the population of Milwaukee. The demographics might have matched, but the population, the size. This is a major metropolitan city in the country, in the world. Milwaukee is a top 35 city in this country, the greatest country in the world. So we just can't look at a town of 70,000 and think that we can take what they do and think that it's going to apply and implement here. So when I saw what they were doing in Baltimore, I felt like this is something that can be done here in Milwaukee. That's why I feel like it's so important for me today to take time to actually give breath, give space, give time to talk about what they actually did in Baltimore and how we can implement and apply it here in Milwaukee. 833-212-1017. When we come back, we're going to hear from the mayor of Baltimore, Brandon Scott, an interview from 2 years ago where Brandon Scott talked about what his plan was, where the city currently stood, and what he wanted to do. Because I think it is so important for people to understand that these things won't change overnight. These issues can't be solved in one meeting. It takes a dedication, a commitment into implementing and applying and investing in a community in order to get the outcomes that are desired from those in the community. It is not an overnight job. It takes years to get things done. And I feel, again, that his plan that he had is transferable here to Milwaukee, but I think we got to go back a couple of years where he actually talks about what he wants to do before we talk about the results. 833-212-1017. We're going to solve this problem. What happened at Summerfest, why Greek Fest had to move down to State Fair, why Chief Norman in the police and State Fair police told T-Pain that it probably wasn't the best idea for planning purposes for us to be able to host this event this day. Why we see an age limit at State Fair where after a certain time at State Fair you have to go with an adult to State Fair. Why we see an age limit at Mayfair Mall where you can't come at a certain age to Mayfair without an adult. Why we see these brawls on the weekend where women's breasts are popping out their shirt while fighting. We have to understand that why we see this is because of a culture that was created, but it was also the lack of resources that are being provided to our community. So when we come back, we're going to talk about solutions on making Milwaukee a thriving black population again. It can be done, but it needs to start with having a plan of action. And here today, Truth Nation on Truth to Power, we are going to have a community conversation about solutions and implementing a plan and holding folks accountable to actually getting things done. This is Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace. On the other side, we will hear from Brandon Scott, the mayor of Baltimore, talking about his plan and his vision for Baltimore. And we'll talk about whether or not, or we'll talk about it was successful. We'll talk about why it was successful on the other side. This is Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace right here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth.
More of Truth to Power is next on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Truth Nation, are you looking for a fun opportunity to showcase your clothing line, restaurant, nonprofit organization, food truck, or small business? Well, look no further than doing it at our Truth Family Fest on Saturday, August 23rd from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Riverside University High School. We are currently accepting vendor applications for our festival. You don't want to miss out on this great opportunity to promote your business and be part of all the fun. To be a vendor at Truth Family Fest, visit truthfamilyfest.com and sign up today.
Truth Nation, you already know I got to put you on the latest hookup at Nick Avani's, and this one is big. All month long during July, Nick Avani's is running their buy one, get one for a penny sale. That's right. Grab one item and get another one for just 1 cent. We're talking top-tier fashion like suits, shirts, ties, shoes, and more that will have you stepping out looking sharp and turning heads. Some exclusions may apply, but the deal is real and only happening for the month of July. So don't wait and pull up to Nick Avani's on the second floor of Mayfair Mall and level up your wardrobe while this deal lasts.
Ready to buy your first house, move into your forever home, or simply refinance? At Associated Bank, they've got you. With the right lending plan and guidance, you can achieve your dreams. Your financial goals are closer than you think, and Associated Bank is excited to help you reach them. Learn more at associatedbank.com/lending or ask a banker for details. Subject to credit approval, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
It's 1017 The Truth's Dr. Ken Harris for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. For windows with the strongest resilience, you need the Pella Experience. The Pella Experience Center in Brookfield lets you see, feel, open, close, and compare dozens of windows and door options from 7 different Pella lines side by side. A friendly expert can go over Pella's endless possibilities for all price ranges, from colors to hardware to custom designs, ensuring you get the best possible look for your home. Pella truly believes that quality windows and doors don't have to be expensive. With a range of affordable options and products assembled in the U.S., you get the look you want at a price you can afford. Stop by soon, because if you order by July 31st, you can get 0% interest for up to 5 years. Certain restrictions apply. Visit the Pella Experience Center in Brookfield. It's off Blue Mound Road, kitty corner to Cops, or schedule your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com.
This is Truth to Power on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
Life is better with American Family Insurance, because their home policies help protect your dreams and come with a peace of mind. Right now, Truth Nation, you can save up to 25%. If your insurance price is too high, right now I have a solution for you. Save up to 25% by bundling home, auto, and life. American Family Insurance, they got you. So you can get a quote today from an agent by visiting amfam.com. That is amfam.com. What I also like to do is I like to type in American Family Insurance agencies around me, so then I can kind of go to different pages and see which ones are near me as well. But again, if you are looking for a home policy, an auto policy, a life policy, you can do it all at American Family Insurance. And if you decide to bundle, you can save up to 25%. So visit amfam.com today. That is amfam.com today to get an agent or find a quote today. It is Truth to Power here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. I am Kyle Wallace, the host of Truth to Power. And on the other side, I wanted to talk about solutions today, right? You can watch and stream us live on YouTube. You can call in, text in, 833-212-1017. But I wanted to have a conversation talking about solutions, because I feel like so often we get bogged down with talking about the problem, but now I want to talk about some of the solutions. And when I talk about solutions, we're talking about the issue that we had at Summerfest, but I think the issue is beyond Summerfest, whether you're talking about going down to Water Street, or you're talking about going to Old Third Ward that is now MLK, where you're talking about going to some bars in the hood. There seems to be sometimes some issues that happen. And so what I want us to do is I want us to be able to not so much focus on the problem, but shift our focus on potential solutions. And when I talk about potential solutions, I say let's find other places that are doing things that help their community get better. And a place out there that I believe we should follow is Baltimore, Maryland. And Baltimore, Maryland is 60% black. We're about 40-some% black, but they're majority black community just like us. Their population is around the same size as the city of Milwaukee. They have a young black mayor in Brandon Scott, just like we have a young black mayor in Cavalier Johnson. And I think Chevy Johnson wants to do the most he can to uplift the community. Sometimes I think that he doesn't really have the best people around him to come up with a plan, especially based off the fact that people who are in power that weren't very good. Not shout out to Willie Hines. Willie Hines is a great example of somebody that got moved in a position that he had no business being in. Very bright individual, but had no business running Hackham. But Baltimore had a long history of violence, and the mayor and the governor, Wes Moore, who is also black, said that we can't deal with this anymore. Enough is enough, and we need to invest in the community. Matter of fact, there was a bill in Maryland that was supposed to be a study for reparations, and Wes Moore said, listen, I'm vetoing that. I'm done with studies. We're not doing nothing, a study on reparations. I'm about to make an investment in the community. Now, again, before we get into how they solve some issues and how they solve some problems, I want you to go to 1017 The Truth on YouTube or turn your radio up. And I want you to hear this story of Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Baltimore, a couple years ago, talking about his plan to reduce crime in the city of Baltimore, which we know Baltimore has been riddled with crime for decades and years. But he decided he wanted to come up with a plan. Listen here to an interview that he did with a Baltimore TV station.
WJZ exclusive tonight. We're taking your concerns about crime and safety directly to Mayor Brandon Scott.
Annie Rose Ramos joins us live from City Hall downtown. Annie Rose, what did the mayor say about his administration and what they're doing to combat this?
Well, Nikki, you just mentioned the latest incidents of crime in this city. I asked the mayor moments ago, what do you tell the residents who say they're scared, who say they feel like violent incidents are something they are living with in this city on an everyday basis? Nearly 2 years into his term, the mayor says that they are working on it every single day. He talked about something he calls the community violence intervention ecosystem, explaining what exactly that is. Nikki, he also talked about his personal past with the police, his personal experiences that he had with them, and why the city cannot solely look to police to solve the crime here.
Folks like myself were sat down in handcuffs in the rain as I was coming home to my neighborhood from St. Mary's College just because they thought I committed a robbery when I was 2 hours away when it happened, right? We can't go back to that.
That happened.
That happened. That happened, and it wasn't the first time I got pulled over. I want us to get out of this mindset that is solely on the police department and solely on folks like myself. We have to understand this. If the police department is arresting more people with guns, more people with violent guns, why is it that they're seeing those same people back out on the street? Where along in the other parts of the system do we have to make those corrections? Have an ecosystem that is helping to attack violence from every way. This is something that Baltimore should have done many, many moons ago, and we know we have to build it up. But we can no longer live in a world, and nor should we ever have lived in a world where we put all of that on our police officers.
Now, Nikki, coming up at 11, I pressed the mayor about the Safe Streets program here in this city, whether or not it is working, how it is being gauged in terms of its efficacy. He tells me that he is looking to change parts of that program, and he explains how. We also talk about squeegee workers. He tells me how he feels about that and whether or not he believes they should exist in this city. All of that coming up at 11. Reporting live at 7, I'm Annie Rose Ramos for WJZ.
WJZ out in Baltimore. You heard Brandon Scott talking about how we need to find solutions and talked about his personal experience. And at the end there, you heard him talk about the Safe Streets program. They implemented something called the Safe Street programs where 2 years ago, there was questions about whether or not it was working. Instead of scrapping the program, instead of saying we don't think this is going to work, what they did was they said, let's keep investing in the program and let's keep creating this comprehensive plan so our community can be better. And what we're seeing in Baltimore is the fact that they were steadfast and committed to actually getting things done. The community is reaping the benefits of those efforts. In partnership with Governor Wes Moore, he invested $400 million in communities across Maryland, and $17 million of those dollars went directly to Baltimore to stop violence in the community. $17 million from the state to stop violence in the community. Out there, they said that's socialism, but he said, no, we're just trying to get things done. In addition to that, Wes Moore has given $50 million into reversing the long, ugly legacy of redlining and displacement and disinvestment in black and brown and underserved communities across this state. Now, when I think about this, in Milwaukee, at least we have these, we call them projects, y'all call whatever, the meadows, y'all call whatever y'all want to call it. But I call it a community where people live at. And I never forget, back in 2018, I drove on a bus. I used to work in recruitment. And what we did was we went to different schools. We got on the bus and we went to different schools to recruit kids from different areas. And I recruited in Baltimore. And when I was in Baltimore, I never forget, and I probably still have a video on my phone. I should search for that video, where there was blocks on blocks on blocks of dilapidated housing. And I asked somebody who was from Maryland, I said, are people living there? They said in some of those places. I was absolutely I was blown. My mind was blown. Because it was absurd that people are living in those type of conditions. I could not believe that when I looked at these houses, and when I say dilapidated, I'm thinking broken windows. I'm talking about some of the houses nobody can even live in it. And I saw block after block after block. I'm talking about there was 5 blocks of dilapidated homes. And I said, this is a problem. And so knowing that they have a governor that's investing $50 million into that issue, that is so important. But here's the thing where we actually see the real change. See, because Maryland leaders are investing in stopping violence and creating positive outcomes for their community. See, what we need to do, and this is no shot at what our policymakers and lawmakers are doing, but while they're investing $50 million in housing, and while they're investing $17 million from a state level to stop violence, while they're investing their mind to implementing plans, a comprehensive plan to curb violence, we're building bump outs. That is not going to get violence down. Can it slow down reckless driving? Yes. But I don't know about you, Rhea. You drive in Milwaukee. Is reckless driving still pretty prevalent to you?
I mean, I'm a little bit part of the problem. Not as bad, but it's pretty outrageous.
It's outrageous. And again, I am not knocking them for trying to do something, but bump outs ain't going to stop somebody from getting popped. Bump outs ain't going to stop somebody from going in the far left lane to pull off and skirt off in front of people. It's not going to stop people from driving 80 in a 35. It's not going to stop these folks from going to Summerfest and acting a fool. We actually have to come up with a real plan. And the thing is some of the efforts made by Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott, they're actually working, and it wasn't rocket science. It was just simply them making a commitment to the community. They created a violence prevention program that actually reduces crime, unlike ours, who is reactive versus proactive. In the violence prevention program that they had that was focused on reducing gun violence, they actually employ violence interrupters who work within the communities to mediate conflicts and connect with individuals and resources. And many of these individuals have past criminal records, and they are speaking from experience. And the results that Baltimore is seeing is phenomenal. They've seen a decrease in homicides and shootings. Baltimore has seen a substantial drop in homicides and non-fatal shootings, reaching the lowest number in over 50 years midway through 2025. Homicides are down almost 23%, and fatal shootings were down almost 20% year-to-date on July 1st compared to the previous year. That's a positive. When a state has seen in April of 2025 the lowest number of homicides ever recorded in a single month, that is progress. But that progress just didn't come by luck. It came by work. It came by investment. And beyond the homicides, other crime categories have also seen a decline. Auto theft down 34% in Baltimore. Robberies down 22%. Carjackings down 15%. This all isn't just by chance. This is by work. And the work that Mayor Scott did in Baltimore, he created a plan that had community-centered events. And I talked about this on Monday, but I really want to get to it now. 25 weeks of ground-level engagement for youth and young adults. They had basketball night leagues for adults. They had midnight basketball for teens. They had pool parties for teens. They extended hours of recreation centers to 11 p.m. for people the age of 13 to 20 to be able to have something to do so late. By the time they got home, they were exhausted. They probably got a bite to eat, and then they went to bed. They weren't running the streets. They weren't driving and stealing cars. They were playing basketball, soccer, tag, volleyball. They were doing activities, playing, doing a puzzle. They were interacting with other people, doing little small projects. But they provided an option and resources for the youth in the community. They even went so far to have mobile recreation centers. Mobile recreation centers to be able to go to the community and provide resources to kids to have something to jump rope, to play cans, which I don't know if they play cans out there. But again, they provided resources. They had 29 literacy-focused programs for elementary education students. And the one that I believe is the most vital is the fact that they had a youth work summer jobs program, which here in Milwaukee, we also have a youth work summer jobs program. But they had 8,500 students signed up to work. 8,500 students in the city of Baltimore signed up to be employed, to make money, and to have a job and to have responsibility. The bottom line, Truth Nation, is that there is a way. 833-212-1017. I want to hear your thoughts on this, on the solutions, because we talk about Summerfest. Y'all see social media posts about Summerfest, and everybody got something to say. We talk about Summerfest. Y'all light up the Truth phone lines. Y'all call Jamming with Juice. Y'all call the Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Y'all call Truth to Power. Y'all call the Tory Lowe Show. Y'all call Truth in the Afternoon to bash these kids and talk about the problem and what we should do with these kids. But now we need to have a real conversation about solutions. And I'm bringing y'all concrete evidence of a success program that, again, it did not happen overnight, but with due time, they found momentum, which that's the most important thing. It's because they say reach one, teach one. What Baltimore was doing is they're reaching many, and I promise you, the end result that Baltimore will see is they'll see a better black community, a more thriving black community, a more educated black community, a more wealthy black community, and less violence in the black community. And let me tell y'all something about Maryland. Maryland is a very wealthy place for African Americans to be, but Baltimore has had its struggles with violence and with poverty. But 833-212-1017, Baltimore came up with a plan. Can Milwaukee replicate that? Can we create a plan? And who is responsible for coming up with that plan? Next election season is a while away for our local officials. But I say that we need to make sure, whether it's the next election season, that we demand a plan from our elected officials in order to get our vote. Or if we want it now, we tell Mayor Cavalier Johnson, we tell all the aldermen, we tell Common Council President Jose Perez, we tell everybody. We could tell Lamont Westmoreland, who is the Common Council member who rightfully so complained about the garbage, might have been strong worded, but I know he's good with his pen, and so maybe he can help be part of the minds that comes up with a plan and with a solution. Talk to him. Talk to Russell Stamper. Talk to Malele Cogs. Talk to Andrea Pratt. Talk to all these different individuals to come up with a plan, because if they cannot come up with a plan, I don't suggest this because I'm not big on recalls. Maybe we threaten people with recalls. But at this point now, the community is fed up, and now it's time for solutions. 833-212-1017. I see y'all calls. I see your texts. We're going to get to your calls after this. This is Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace. Before I go to break, Truth Nation, I do want to let y'all know we have the Truth Walk Against Violence, which is coming up on Saturday, and I want y'all to join us for the Truth Walk Against Violence, which is led by Tory Lowe on Saturday, July 12th from Victory Over Violence Park down MLK Drive right here to our studio at the 3rd Street Market Hall. Visit truthwalkagainstviolence.com today. That is truthwalkagainstviolence.com right now to sign up for the Walk Against Violence, which is supported by 1MKE on Saturday, July 12th from 9 a.m. to noon. We are 1MKE. Shout out to them. And also thank you to Cousin Subs for being our food sponsor. But on the other side, I'm going to hear from Truth Nation. I said my piece. We have a plan. Now, Truth Nation, we need to come together and start holding people accountable. I want to hear from y'all. Again, 833-212-1017. The caller, Char Bryan, y'all all got a plan, and I want to hear it next.
Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
Ride the wave to clean at Tsunami Express Car Wash, Milwaukee's fan favorite for a winning shine. Become a monthly member and enjoy unlimited washes for less than $1 per day. Plus, skip the wait in the fast lane and enjoy unbeatable amenities like free vacuums and tire air. Visit any of their convenient locations in Midtown Milwaukee, Waukesha, Greenfield, Oak Creek, and Mount Pleasant. Tsunami Express Car Wash. Wash, chill, repeat. Learn more at tsunamiexpress.com.
Are you or anyone you know looking for a new job opportunity? Attend the City of Milwaukee Job Fair on Thursday, July 10th from noon to 3 p.m. at 2 locations. Visit us at Northcott Neighborhood House, located at 2460 North 6th Street, and at Garden Homes Park, located at 2600 West Atkinson Avenue. Vendors from multiple employment sectors will be present to meet with you and share opportunities for hiring, training, upskilling, and more. We will also feature a live DJ, food and refreshments while supplies last, and the chance to make your next career move. Your success matters, and we are here for it. Brought to you by council members Andrea Pratt and Milele A. Coggs. Sponsored by City of Milwaukee, Milwaukee Common Council, City of Milwaukee Department of Administration, Office of Community Wellness and Safety, Northcott Neighborhood House, Fathers Making Progress, Northwest Side Community Development Corporation, State of Wisconsin DWD, Ross Innovative Employment Solutions, Goodwill Industries of Southeast Wisconsin, UMOS, DCMKE, 30th Street Corridor, Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Milwaukee, Milwaukee County Parks, Maximus, and Amplifier.
This is Sherwin Hughes from 1017 The Truth for Axe Housing. Are you tired of paying a landlord rent when you should be paying yourself? Do you want to leave a financial legacy, or would you like to have a stable place to call home? Well, it's time for you to start on the path to owning your own home instead of renting. You can work with an Axe Housing coach, and they will teach you how home ownership can be a reality. Axe Housing has helped over 4,000 families in our neighborhoods. Many times your mortgage will be a lot less than what you're paying for rent. As an average Axe family who has been helped pays around $900 per month. No matter what barriers you think you're facing, Axe Housing coaches can assist you right now. An Axe Housing coach will help you create and stick to a plan and a budget and get you ready for home ownership. If you're not dreaming of home ownership by now, you certainly should be. Let's make it a reality with Axe Housing. Get started on a virtual orientation by clicking on axhousing.org. That is ACTS housing.org. Don't let where you are financially right now get in the way of your very bright future of becoming a homeowner. Axe coaches are here to help.
Associated Bank Sports Update on 1017 The Truth is powered by ESPN Milwaukee. I'm Nazir Spencer. The Brewers have taken the first two games against the Dodgers. Tuesday night's win came behind a strong start and big swing from Sal Frelick.
1-1. Sal gets into one out to right. Back goes Pages at the track. It is gone. It carried out of here into the Dodgers bullpen. Sal for the 7th time this year. And he gives the Brewers some huge insurance.
Rookie Jacob Mizorowski fanned 12 over 6 innings, and Milwaukee picked up a 3-1 win to improve to 52-40. They go for the sweep tonight at American Family Field. Bucks stay active in free agency, re-signing Kevin Porter Jr., Gary Trent Jr., and Torian Prince to 2-year deals. This sports update brought to you by Associated Bank, proudly supporting your hometown teams. Member FDIC.
It is Truth to Power on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
833-212-1017. That is the Truth Talk and Text line. It is Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. You can watch and stream us live on YouTube by going to 1017 The Truth on YouTube. Make sure y'all give us a like. Make sure y'all give us a subscribe. We're 60 subscribers away from 4,000 as we are on our road to 5,000 subscribers. We are having a conversation talking about what took place at Summerfest and what has been taking place with our youth here in Milwaukee year after year. And I feel like we are finally at a breaking point after the nonsense happened at the 3rd Street, not the 3rd Street Market Hall, the Night Market, Summerfest, all the fights that we seen on Brady Street, Water Street, and on MLK, Old 3rd Ward Street. And we got to find real solutions. I talked about what Baltimore did. I want to hear what you all think about the Baltimore plan and what we can do to actually change the culture here in Milwaukee for better. 833-212-1017. The caller, thank you so much for holding. You're on 1017 The Truth. What are your thoughts on this conversation?
Well, good afternoon on this wonderful day, Brother Kyle. What I wanted to say is that piece about how elections have consequences. If the people of Baltimore sat on their behinds and didn't elect Mayor Scott like we did when we had an opportunity, everything that you mentioned, Lena Taylor, who is the most qualified politician in this state, has presented, as well as legalizing cannabis, and has the savvy that the person that Milwaukee voters sat on their behind and allowed to be elected when we knew he was less qualified. Am I right?
We did. No, you're breaking up really here, the caller here. You're breaking up a little bit.
Hold on, let me take you off speaker so you can hear me better. I'm in there.
And I got about 30 more seconds here. I can't. I got about 30 more seconds here for you, but please continue.
We had a chance to elect that type of mayor, and we didn't. Lena Taylor ran for mayor of this city and is Milwaukee. There are union workers who are in Milwaukee who are earning a union wage because of her. She's presented much more legislation than Chevy has. She's passed more than Chevy has ever presented, and we allowed, as voters, him to be elected. So what Baltimore did, the beginning of their success, was electing that mayor and that governor. And so the next time we have an opportunity to do so, we have to do that. It starts there. We can't make him do something that he's ordained not to do because he was anointed by the person who allowed this crime to go on for 30 years. That's Mayor Barrett and the mayors before him.
No, I agree.
The mayors before Mayor Scott were similar to Mayor Barrett and the mayors that we've had, and Mayor Scott is different, much more similar to Lena Taylor. So I think when the next time we have Black MAGA telling us not to vote, and sometimes on this station we've heard that, we need to ignore that and do what the right thing for our community is, because if Senator Taylor is mayor, you tell me, I'll hang up, will we have a better city in your opinion?
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think that's a great question, and I'll answer it. Yes, I absolutely do think there'll be a better city. I'll say simply because of this. And again, I think, when I look at Cavalier Johnson, I think of his job performance. I think you have to look at it in different areas, right? If you talk about the job performance of building industry in downtown Milwaukee and trying to create more jobs in downtown Milwaukee and providing housing for folks in downtown Milwaukee to make it a place for people who want to go, absolutely. He's done a phenomenal job with that. Continue on with the plan. But he's done an abysmal job addressing the needs on the north side of Milwaukee, whether you look at where Capitol Court is or Midtown is and how that's basically dead and how we don't see industry inside the city. He's done a terrible job at that. And so, again, there's room for improvement for everybody. So, yes, Lena Taylor probably will be better on the north side, but I'm not sure downtown will be thriving. I think Cavalier Johnson has done a phenomenal job with downtown and an abysmal job on the north side. 833-212-1017. Shar in Milwaukee on the award-winning 1017 The Truth.
Yeah, I think one of the things is that I agree that there needs to be resources, but we're not looking at the elephant in the room. And you said it earlier, it's culture. Simultaneously, we need to hold these parents responsible, and we need to really look at the elephant in the room, these people who are having children that have no business being nobody's parent. And that's a hard thing for black people to swallow, but that's what it is. I know two young ladies with 8 kids each. From men they met in a tavern.
But Char,
you gotta have more cultural dignity.
Char, how do you,
dignity?
I feel you, but how do you can't stop somebody from having kids, right? And so that's something that I feel like
you can't.
So how do we solve that issue?
Well, then we're not gonna solve the problem. Back in my day, there wasn't no birth control. There is birth control. So when you get on TV with your 8 kids and talking about you want Christmas presents, nobody told you. I wasn't there when you laid down.
I feel you.
So I'm not saying that's the only solution. I'm saying that we need to have simultaneous cultural awareness.
Yeah,
because I'm to the point where there's black people and there's other people. No. Okay, I raised 2 sons successfully after being divorced because I made them accountable for their actions.
Absolutely. I
told my sons, if you go to jail, if you sell drugs, don't waste the one call on me.
I appreciate you. No, I thank you so much for being real, and I think it's so important for people to have that real, honest conversation. I think it's important. I do believe accountability is one of the things that is so important in life. When you know that there's going to be consequences for actions, you think before you do something wrong. 833-212-1017. Brian in Milwaukee, you're on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. What do you think that we should do to provide more resources to our community here in Milwaukee? What is the plan?
First of all, we got enough resources. Second of all, the Baltimore plan won't work with the type of mentality folks we have in Milwaukee. The reason Baltimore is successful, because I don't care how low down and how many murders Baltimore had per capita, it still wasn't as bad as the per capita murder and dysfunctionality in this small town of 266,000. You're talking about upwards of almost 1 million people in Baltimore, Prince George County, D.C., all that stuff gets lumped in together when you're going by statistics. I know the area real well.
I don't know if it. I don't think that gets lumped in because D.C.'s a good amount away from Baltimore, and I know PG County. I think PG County is going more towards D.C. and Montgomery County over there, and those are some wealthy counties. Prince George.
Put it to you like this. It's all together. It's all together. The Prince George people, D.C. people, Clinton County people, Clinton, Maryland people, Baltimore people, Philadelphia people. They all act the same way.
Yeah,
They
Delaware
all
too. Don't forget them folks in Delaware, guys. Like, there's some black folks out here in Delaware.
From fire and brimstone. But let me finish my point.
Go ahead.
The point is, we can't use their techniques over here because these people in the Midwest were raised a totally different way.
I feel you.
Like I told you before, 36 years of Jerry Springer and gangster rap music took too much of an effect on the black population here.
I feel Brian, I got to continue on. I appreciate your thoughts, but I got to continue on, and thank you so much for calling in. We got two more callers that we got to get to before we get to break. But again, 833-212-1017. I want to talk about some of the solutions, and some of y'all calling in still talking about the problems. I appreciate y'all calling in, but I want to talk about, can we utilize Baltimore as a roadmap for us to be successhave? Corey, Eastside Corey, thank you so much for calling in. I'd love to hear from you. How you doing, Eastside Corey?
Hey, man, I'm doing well. I have hope in my heart on your sharing your knowledge and experience with Baltimore. There was a wonderful series on, and I think you can still download it, on Frontline. It's called Two Families. And it was a documentary that has lasted over 30 years. I've been watching it. It came to a conclusion last night because Bill Morris died. It's about a black family and a white family that live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I ask everybody, take a minute and watch this series, and you will see exactly where we are and that we still have hope because we're at the beginning of our greatest decline, okay? The children are fighting because they're crying out for help. Yep. They're crying out for direction. They need something to do. They need something to look forward to. We offer them nothing except to sit down and shut up. Okay, so what do they turn to? Okay, this program offers hope. This meets their needs in sports and in activity and keeping them active and making a little bit of money. It's not a lot, but it's something. It keeps them off the street. Okay, we can customize that because we have the resources. We have the facilities. Let's do this.
I feel you. Let's do this indeed. Thank you so much, Eastside Corey. Lisa, you're on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. I got about 60 seconds here for you.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, Milwaukee is, well, they used to be 15 years behind. At least they got up to 10. We must bring innovators. We must make our kids, okay, you got parents out there that, just don't care about their kids and not teach them and not whatever. Okay, so let's go a different direction. We must take these kids out and explore. Get them on a bus. Get about 30 of them on a bus. Take them to, like I keep telling people, take them to California, where they'll see amazing creations, amazing, people ideas and amazing ideas. We must open up their mind. All that other stuff, basketball and all that, whatever. We must bring people back, have them, give them a reason to come back to Milwaukee. When they left Milwaukee, for their education or get, better job opportunities, let's give them something to come back to. Milwaukee's dead. The downtown is dead. Milwaukee's only known now for eating and drinking beer at a bar.
Miss Lisa, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for calling in. I hear what we saying. But I feel like a lot of us is so focused on what we don't have instead of focused on what we can have. I appreciate y'all calling in, Truth Nation, and having this dialogue because it is so important. That is what this platform is for. I'm going to wrap up the conversation on the other side, but before I do, it's one call that's all with Gruber Law Offices. Now is your chance to be the 5K Gruber entry for the day. We'll be giving away $5,000 courtesy of Gruber Law Offices and 1017 The Truth coming up at the end of this month. And so you don't want to miss your chance to be entered to win $5,000 courtesy of Gruber Law Offices with our one call that's all 5K giveaway. So be caller number 10 right now at 833-212-1017 for your chance to be entered to win $5,000 courtesy of Gruber Law Offices and award-winning 1017 The Truth. That is caller number 10 at 833-212-1017. Always remember, if you or a loved one is ever injured in an accident, don't mess around with any of the other companies. Go ahead and get with Gruber Law Offices. They are a winning team, and they will win your case. And so make sure you work with them today. Again, that's caller number 10 at 833-212-1017.
You are listening to Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace on 1017 The Truth and The Truth app. Catch Truth to Power every weekday from noon to 1 p.m.
Hi, I'm Tayden, and I'm a proud Riverside University High School Tiger. As a rising sophomore, I have found that my favorite thing about attending Riverside is that it is a very unique and diverse community, while at the same time, it is a very inclusive community. Everyone has a place at Riverside, no matter who you are. Come join the Riverside community and Truth Nation for the second annual Truth Family Fest on August 17th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. right at Riverside University High School in Milwaukee. Can't wait to see you there.
Truth Nation, you already know I got to put you on the latest hookup at Nick Avani's, and this one is big. All month long during July, Nick Avani's is running their buy one, get one for a penny sale. That's right. Grab one item and get another one for just 1 cent. We're talking top-tier fashion like suits, shirts, ties, shoes, and more that will have you stepping out looking sharp and turning heads. Some exclusions may apply, but the deal is real and only happening for the month of July. So don't wait and pull up to Nick Avani's on the second floor of Mayfair Mall and level up your wardrobe while this deal lasts.
Healthy beginnings create brighter futures. At Outreach Healthy Start, Healthy Hearts, families and experts unite to explore how early decisions from pregnancy to childhood shape lifelong health and well-being. Join Outreach on Thursday, July 31st from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. to learn how prenatal care, well-child visits, and healthy habits lay the foundation for strong hearts and strong futures. This event is free and open to Milwaukee families. Call 414-727-6320 to register today. That's 414-727-6320. Outreach Healthcare with Heart.
I've got to share that I am also a beneficiary of the Old National Bank Empowerment Loan Program. So, Tracy, with that being said, what is the Empowerment Loan Program?
Great. Well, the Empowerment Loan Program is a special purpose loan program that we launched 2 years ago. It has been a success. It was something near and dear to the heart of not only our chairman and CEO, but just our organization as a whole. We work with contractors, consulting firms, retail food operations, daycares. In fact, so far, we've approved $50 million of loans to minority and women-owned businesses within a 2-year period.
And for those that are now leaning more into this conversation, what's the best way to get in contact with you as part of their interest in the Empowerment Loan Program?
I'm going to give you my cell phone number to the listeners. It's 414-687-7393. And if that doesn't work, feel free to reach me at my email, tracy.meeks@oldnational.com.
Tracy Meeks, Senior Vice President, Community Lending Market Executive from Old National Bank.
You are listening to Truth to Power on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
1, 2, 3, ho!
It is Truth to Power here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. I am your host of Truth to Power. Thank y'all so much, Truth Nation, for coming in, and I apologize. I apologize so much. LaRon, you're right. I don't be reading the YouTube like that. I got caught up in my own today. LaRon said you are asking or suggesting that other people or communities have to raise black children. That might be a conversation to have in there. But whether here nor there, first and foremost, I think downtown Milwaukee has a lot to do. So I disagree with that. I feel like it has a lot to do, but not for the kids. And for me, overall, when we talk about Baltimore is different than Milwaukee, we can get it done here. Phooey. We can get it done here in Milwaukee. We have the resources, we have the people, we have the intelligence, we have the money to be able to get it done. It may not be able to get done overnight, but you cannot tell me if the PAL Center or if the YMCA was not open later until 11 p.m. for kids to go swimming. I told you, I had my little cousin over, and she spent the night at my crib, but she would have loved to be out later, right? We need to have more activities geared towards these kids throughout the day and throughout the night. That's what the investment needs to be, because when kids have something to do, they not acting a fool running these streets. If you opened up the pool at night, not saying they wouldn't fight during that time, but at least they have activities to do. So we need to change the culture, but we need to try to actually implement things that could benefit our community. Because when you have these kids occupied, when you have these kids in a healthy, happy environment, it makes for a safer streets and safer communities for you as a person, your family, and your children as well. This has been Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace. I thank y'all so much for indulging with me today. The Tori Lowe Show is up next. Peace out, y'all. Love y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Good Karma Brands would like to send out a big congratulations to Tori Lowe. Tori recently received a proclamation from both the city of Milwaukee and Milwaukee County. So going forward, July 5th will now be recognized as Tori